Hello, good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. My name is Megan Mays. This is Being Civil in Minnesota. I come here Saturdays at 10 to talk about family law issues, about issues with the courts. And I am licensed to practice in the state of Minnesota, but this does not make this legal advice. I come here to give free resources and information because I think there's a lot of good information out there, but I think there's a lot of terrible information on the internet. Today's topic is about minor passports. If you're thinking about traveling, or if you just don't have a passport for your minor and you want to have that option to leave and travel, if that's something you want to do, I think this is a great resource. Typically, you're going to find the information on a couple great websites. One is lawhelpmn.org. Gives you information about kind of what the rules are. The applications and instructions for the application for the passport can be found on the U.S. Department of State website, and that is travel.state.gov. I went to the website this morning, and right away on the page, it does have a notice that says, sorry, we haven't updated our 2025 forms, but keep using the forms that we have, even though we're outdated, and we'll get to those soon. So that's what they say on their website. To me, that sounds like they want you to continue to use those forms, but I would pay attention to when they update those. So today we're talking about kiddos who are under the age of 16. There are different rules for kiddos who are over 16, requires a lot less rules and complications. So passports for kiddos under the age of 16 last for 5 years. There are a couple different situations where you might need to get passports. One, maybe you share joint custody, or maybe you're married, and so there's more than one person who has the legal authority over that child. You may be the only parent, maybe because there was never another parent, or they have sadly passed away. Then there's also if you can't find the other parent. So first of all, we'll talk about what happens if you have joint custody. So sometimes, even if you're not married, you can have a custody order that gives you guys both joint custody, joint legal custody, meaning making legal decisions for the kiddo. That requires that both parents and the minor child appear for the application process. If the other parent, for some reason, is unable to appear with you and the minor child, you can have a signed, notarized statement of consent. That form can also, and those instructions can be found on the U.S. Department of State website. If you have sole custody, you're the only parent, you're either going to have that by court order, which says you have sole custody. You can show that by having a birth certificate that only shows your name on it. We've talked before about recognitions of parentage, which is a form that is signed typically in the hospital that acknowledges the non-birthing parent, and then they are, by that, are put on the birth certificate. So that doesn't give them custody, but the Department of State, in my experience, has a hard time differentiating between in Minnesota, an unmarried mom has sole custody of her kids until a court determines otherwise. The being on the birth certificate can make it a little bit complicated. Thankfully, the state of Minnesota has a streamlined, very easy process. If you are an unmarried mother in the state of Minnesota and the other parent does not have any rights, there are forms on the Minnesota Judicial Branch website that talk about requesting just passport relief. So if this is your situation and you need to get a passport, you can file it called ex parte, meaning you don't have to notify anybody else because nobody else has a legal interest in whether or not this child has a passport or not. The process is pretty painless, pretty quick. So if that's you and you're looking to get a passport, I would try that. Then there's circumstances where I don't know where the other parent is. They've left. They may be in jail. They may have been deported. There could be a lot of reasons. There is a statement of special circumstances, which you can fill out and explain to the Department of State why you can't find the other parent. These applications, in my experience, are very confusing. Again, if they're on the birth certificate, if they have custody, the Department of State is going to want to see a statement from them or really, really good reasons and all the ways that you have attempted to contact this other parent before applying for the passport. If you are not the parent that's applying for the passport or wanting to do this affirmatively, but you have concerns that the other parent may try to get a passport without your consent, perhaps to try to flee or for control, or maybe they just want to visit family, but they're not really great at communicating. In any of those circumstances, you can apply to something called the Passport Issuance Alert Program. And that means that you say before a passport can be issued, I want to be contacted. So that can be a really good resource. Typically, you're going to be applying for a passport at a local government site. I believe when I applied for passports for my 11 and 9-year-old, we went to the Blue Earth County Government Center. We had to show up with a notarized birth certificate, payment. We had to bring photos that meet the standards for passport photos. There can't be streaks. There's also some kind of rules regarding whether or not you can wear glasses, hair up or down, big smile, not big smile. They're just really kind of plain photos. There are places that you can go to get these photos done, but sometimes even those places don't always do the photos right. The passport agency, I think, has the ability to take your photos when you get there. There may be a cost for it. If the photos that you purchased didn't work out, you may want to go back to the person who did the photos, either get them redone or ask for a refund. Follow the instructions of the forms. Sometimes there's ink coloring requirements, meaning blue or not blue or black or not black. You want to make sure that you have all the original documents and that you are doing this far enough in advance so that you can get the passport on time. I think I applied for mine a couple months in advance because I didn't want to risk anything and I didn't want to have to pay for anything being expedited. There are ways to expedite, meaning make it move more quickly. There are additional costs for that, and that will depend on kind of your circumstances. So if you're thinking about travel or if you have concerns that you may need to travel in the near future, getting a passport for your minor kiddos is a good way to ensure that if and when the time comes, you guys are all set for travel. I hope this helped. You can find episodes 1 through 42 on Being Civil channel on YouTube. If you have questions, post them on the Facebook group, Being Civil in Minnesota. You can post anonymously, and I answer questions Saturdays at 10. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July and that everybody has all of their fingers and toes after lighting off some fireworks. And I hope this information helps. If you have questions for next week, go ahead and post them. Take care. Have a great Saturday.